what is the survival personality in your experience?
In my experience, it's almost like the way you believe and think and manage yourself in relation to other people, based on how you've been taught you should be doing it. So
Exactly.
it's almost like it's the safe way of being you when
Yeah.
you grow up. So it's a conditioned sort of person. It's your conditioned personality. And it sometimes feel like wearing a suit that is either too big or too little, but you don't know how to take it off.
No.
So I think that's oftentimes the first thing you start to do in psychotherapy is actually start to looking at your sort of survival personality and how it's not suitable for who you feel yourself to be and what you want to do and achieve with your life, because
Yeah.
that personality is restricting you in every possible way. It's
Yeah.
making you into a people pleaser, good girl, good boy, or too assertive, exhibitionistic, always need attention to feel valued. You never know what it's going to look like.
No.
But then, starting to work with that and unpack that personality it's important work.
Yeah, I think you really nailed it. It's a conditioned self, yes, based on what was acceptable to your social surroundings, and it's underneath it is all the repressed and all the taboos and all the parts of you that has been shamed and dissociated from your personality. So you have this social mask that you wear, and where you build your social identity upon, because it gives you some type of security, some
Mm.
kind of inclusion, but it's not an individualized identity at all. And very often we are not aware that we are wearing this suit. It's just become so ingrained in our behavior. I recognize really, at the age of 25, I had a big confrontation with a part of me I called Mr. Smiling Face. And it was simply just, that was part of my survival
Mm.
personality, always meeting people with a lot of positivity and Mr. Smiling Face. And it became at some point so stiff and so crystallized. I was almost strangled by it. So I had to really, I started psychotherapy there at that young age, and I really had to have a couple of years where I went to another extreme, becoming very serious, not smiling, only in myself. But I needed to go out to that
Mm.
extreme in order to feel who I am. And then
Mm.
later, of course, I found a balance in it. But we all have these social mask that is constraining us, and it's actually a prison from some point of view.
Yes. Yeah. I think so much of therapy is actually working with that survival personality, that conditioned self. I think it
Yeah,
takes up the first year of work at least. So we always come back to it because the conditioning happens so early. So it's
yeah,
so deeply ingrained in our own consciousness as like an instinctual response to anything. So it's really quite difficult uh, to
yeah,
transform it and
yeah,
make it become something a bit more close to who you feel yourself to be,
yeah.
not what other people want you to be.
Yeah, and my experience is also that when people start taking off this suit, it involves very often conflict with the surroundings, because they have become so used
Mm.
to that particular behavior, and they cannot recognize the individual when he or she starts to play a different roles, having opinions they have never had before, or wearing clothes they have never appeared with before. And it really takes a lot of courage to start expressing this new identity
Mm.
that are more or less, where you get small, authentic qualities in. But there's no way around it. If you
Yeah.
want to show up in the world in a comfortable manner and feeling that you are aligned with yourself,
Mm.
this is simply a must to let go of that survival personality. That's for sure.
Yes, there is no other way, as you say. I think, well, of course there is, but usually people that comes into therapy can't live with it anymore for some reason.
Yeah,
And then this is usually the first kind of work that is happening, is start to understand why you keep getting yourself into situations or relationship that you don't want. You know,
exactly.
why don't I know what's good for me? Is because you don't
Yeah,
know who you are, that's
yeah,
why.
yeah. And now I imagine you have a dog coming by.
I have a dog coming by. She's not getting sufficient attention.
Yes, and I
So,
actually think we should wrap it up because I think we have covered it. In some way, we could speak about this for hours, but the initial question we asked was, how can we help people who are stuck in social media narratives? How can we help them free themselves from these pressures, from these peer pressures? And very often they are stuck in these narratives because actually they come from their survival personality.
mm,
Uh, and they are attached to social acknowledgement, social
mm,
validation, ego validation. And when that need comes from inauthenticity, from these false identities, from this survival personalities, then it will always be something, that can never be fulfilling in any way because
yeah,
it's built on a false ground. So
yeah,
what we suggest is that people have to disidentify from these social medias, perhaps take a break, take a pause, finding some people, perhaps a psychotherapist that can help them create a space, a safe space where they can think freely, express freely. And sometimes they have to leave social groups, move
yeah,
from the city, move to another place where they meet totally new people and they can start experimenting with a new social identity. That is
yes.
some of the steps. What would you, as a conclusion, say to this?
Yes, I would say exactly the same. Maybe also this get off social media for a while, stop posting things, try to wean off that dopamine effect of having likes and followers, see
Yeah,
that there is also some kind of addiction involved here as well. But I think absolutely, I think getting off social media, getting off your phone for a certain period of time, and as you said, meeting with someone, whether it's a therapist or a trusted adult, I think that you can explore these, insecurities and feelings and identities and stories that you keep telling yourself. I think
yeah,
that's a very good place to start.
yeah, exactly.